And so with that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Divan, who will be authoring the webinar today. Dr. Divan is with the Georgia Institute of Technology. He's the director of the Intelligent Power Infrastructure Consortium, a university industry utility consortium that has been formed to provide a focal point to the academic teaching and research programs in advanced power technologies at Georgia Tech. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Divan.
Thank you, Melissa. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend the webinar. I'm hoping that we can cover some topics that will stimulate interest, will stimulate conversation, and hopefully some show some path for us all to kind of tread as we move forward. Clearly, the issue of energy is a galvanizing one, and probably one of the most important issues of our time that we have to address. It's a time of flux. There seems to be tremendous confusion out there. The rhetoric is ugly. Copenhagen was not very successful, didn't achieve all the goals that that we had set for ourselves. Climate change seems to be getting a little more unpopular in the media, and we don't seem to have a set of solutions that work and accomplish everybody's objectives. So this is really what motivated our team out here. I have to acknowledge, Frank Reichenbaum, who's my graduate student, but we've been working together in this space. And for the last little bit, Patty Durand has been part of the team, and I think I'd love to share whatever I've done. And I'll present out here with both of them. We've been working here for a while, trying to get to grips with this area. As an academic, I have the luxury of kind of wiping the whiteboard clean and saying, let's start with no preconceived notions about what we want to achieve and what the final scenario actually ends up looking like. We were as confused as most people, but we were very agnostic about what the solution would be, and we wanted to make sure that we applied the right kind of analysis to whatever scenarios we were projecting. So, to start, I think. Okay. All right. Okay. To start, we kind of said, what should we be doing? What is a desirable end goal if we actually accomplish what we would all like to? So bear with me for a second while I kind of walk you through that. I mean, who could argue that a sustainable energy infrastructure that provides energy security, meets the IPCC goals, scales to meet growing demand, and can have near-term impact at lower cost than today's energy solutions, and allows a relatively painless market-driven transition? This is a dream. I mean, why would anybody argue with that? So, we kind of set that as our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and said, okay, let's see if if we can actually get there. The one thing that we tried to put on the system was, rather than taking a technology-centric view, which is what somebody at Georgia Tech would probably be prone to doing, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to inform the technology development exercise, by economics, by policy, by behavior of incumbents who kind of have a tremendous amount of power in terms of policies and and economics. It is a flat world. Make sure we look at global interdependencies, look at national security issues, because you can't really take actions without addressing those. And finally, make sure that consumer behavior is addressed. If you put in place policies that kind of take you in the opposite direction of what consumers want to do, it's going to be very, very difficult to make this, transition actually happen. The second thing we kind of understood is that, if you don't solve the sustainable energy problem, you're going to have a downward spiral that's going to be very difficult to pull out of. And if we solve the sustainable energy problem, then there's a possibility that some of the other problems can be solved. And so in that sense, it really is a game changer. So the question is, where do we start? Clearly, business as usual is thriving, and you cannot ignore it. You do so at your own peril. So we just want to kind of paint the picture and say, okay, where does petroleum stand? Where does electricity and heat stand? Those are the two major sources of energy. Petroleum is clearly driving economic growth across the world. We see that there are significant challenges in terms of energy security. We are importing $400 billion a year in petroleum. And of course, carbon emissions also continues to be a problem. Our entire geopolitical strategy is dictated by oil, and demand through the emerging nations, continues to explode. So we keep talking about peak oil as being something that is imminent. As we kind of look at the data, it actually suggests that there's really no near-term peak oil scenario under business as usual, because I think what happens is as oil prices go up, it becomes possible to go to more difficult locations to extract petroleum reserves or to convert more difficult petroleum fossil basics into usable fuel. So under that scenario, clearly it appears as if we shouldn't have peak oil as long as oil prices keep increasing. Of course, there's an economic impact to that, which may or may not be acceptable. And secondly, I think the petroleum majors, will definitely try to prevent a paradigm shift. They wield tremendous power, have a lot of profits that come from their business, and they are not going to want to see that change. Now, there are other things, that might provide significant impetus to change, like the Gulf oil spill, but these things are not known yet in terms of what the overall impact is going to be. If you look at electricity and heat to an extent, we see that there is really no near-term energy security issue. We have tremendous amount of coal reserves. We have a lot of new natural gas that we've found. And what this does is allows business as usual to continue in the face of expected load growth. If you look at the EIA forecast as recently as 2004, 2005, they were still looking at 2030 as being very similar in terms of energy mix to what we have had at that time. So that kind of gives you a feeling that they weren't really planning on a lot of change. And what we see as the major driver for change in that sector is really a newly discovered drive to reduce carbon emissions.